The Laṅkāvatāra Sūtra, Chapter 78. The Bhagavan then repeated the meaning of this in verse. To refute the doctrine of arising, to establish the truth of non-arising, I explain this teaching. Fools can't understand. Although things don't arise, they don't exist as nothing. As Gandharvan cities, illusions, or dreams, they exist but without a cause. Why don't things arise or exist by themselves? Why are they empty? Because apart from combinations, nothing appears to wisdom. Thus, I teach what is empty, what doesn't arise and is not self-existent. When this and that combine, something appears but doesn't exist. Analysis finds no combination, despite what other schools claim. As dreams, illusions, or strands of hair, mirages or Gandharvan cities, such are the things of the world. They appear, but without a cause. To refute doctrines of causation, I proclaim the truth of non-arising. Because I proclaim non-arising, the Dharma continues unbroken. But the radiance of no causation frightens the followers of other paths. Mahāmati then asked in verse, how and caused by what, and why do things arise, and how do they come together, according to this doctrine of no causation? The Bhagavan then replied in verse, when created things are examined, as neither having nor not having a cause, the doctrine of arising and cessation is undone by what one sees. Mahāmati then asked in verse, does non-arising mean non-existence, or does it wait upon a cause? A name should not mean nothing. Could you please explain? The Bhagavan then replied in verse, non-arising isn't due to non-existence, nor does it wait upon a cause, nor does a name mean something exists, nor does a name have no meaning. Beyond the reach of other paths, Pratyeka Buddhas and Shravakas, beyond the 7 stages, this is the realm of non-arising. Beyond causes and conditions, likewise beyond all actions, resting on nothing but mind, this, I say, is non-arising. Things not arising from causes, neither existing nor not existing, beyond perceiver and perceived, this, I say, is non-arising. The mind without an object, beyond the 2 modes of reality, transforming one's very ground, this, I say, is non-arising. No external existence or non-existence, no grasping by the mind, putting an end to every view. This, I say, is non-arising. When something is thus distinguished as empty and without self-existence, it isn't empty because it's empty. It's empty because it doesn't arise. When causes and conditions combine, something arises and something ceases. Aside from causes and conditions, nothing else arises or ceases. Aside from causes and conditions, there isn't something else that exists, something the same or different, despite what other schools say. Existence or non-existence doesn't arise. There is no existence or non-existence, except when combinations change. Neither of these apply. It is only according to convention. Mutual dependence becomes a chain. Apart from the chain of causation, arising has no meaning. Arising doesn't arise if it doesn't exist. The error of other paths is thus avoided. I only speak of a chain of causation when fools can't understand. As for something else arising, apart from the chain of causation, this is the doctrine of no causation, which denies the meaning of the chain. Just as a lamp illuminates forms, perception of the chain does the same. Thus, apart from the chain, something else would exist. What doesn't arise doesn't exist. Its existence is like that of space. Apart from the chain of causation, the wise find nothing to see. But there is something that doesn't arise, something attained by the wise, the arising of which doesn't arise, the forbearance of non-arising. If in every world, whatever you see as a chain, everything as a chain, from this you will attain samadhi. Ignorance, desire, and karma, these are the interior chain. A bow drill, a lump of clay, a wheel, and seeds make up the outsides. If something else existed, something arising from causes, this would negate the chain's meaning, and thus it wouldn't succeed. If something arose that didn't exist, which link would be its cause? Things give rise to each other. This is what causation means. Solidity, moisture, heat, and movement, these are the projections of fools. Nothing else exists but their combinations. Thus I teach no self-existence. Like doctors who treat diseases don't have particular doctrines, because diseases differ, they prescribe different cures. For the sake of other beings, to rid them of afflictions, I gauge their level of understanding before I decide what to teach. But different afflictions and understandings don't mean different teachings. I only teach one path, the path of the Mahayana.